quickly take that information, try to condense it down to about 25 minutes or so of the most important things you need to know to help sell this vehicle and deliver it. And that's what we're going to present to you right now. So the topics we'll cover, and there are quite a few, I'll go through grades, standard features, options, things like wheels and colors. And then Jeremy's going to talk about performance, also things like charging. How do you do that? What are the different options? And everything down to federal and state incentives. So, and then we'll answer your questions. So a couple just numbers to kind of keep in mind, and these are the questions your customers will typically ask you. What is the Prime? Well, it's a plug-in hybrid vehicle. You should be familiar with this technology from the Prius Prime, so it's a similar idea. You can plug it in and charge it, but you don't have to, and we'll expand on that a little more. 18.1 kilowatt hours is the capacity of the battery, and that relates to how far it gives you on electric only, which is 42 miles, which is impressive. And it's the best of any plug-in SUV on the market. EV mode speeds up to 82 miles an hour. So it'll go that fast using only the electric system. Fully charges in as little as 2.5 hours or 12 hours typically. And it has great towing capacity. So 2,500 pounds is more than the gas RAV, right, which is only 1,500. So these are some stats to keep in mind. And when you look at where RAV4 Prime is positioned in our lineup, it's obviously a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid, so it's part of the RAV4 hybrid family, which we already had 4 grades of. So these are 2 additional grades. So the Prime just comes in an SE or an XSE grade. And let's go through the different standard features and what you get with each one of those grades. So starting with the SE, and base MSRP without DPH, $38,100. You get an 8-inch audio touchscreen, so a nice size touchscreen. The 7-inch MID is standard. You have heated seats, 8-way power driver seat. They are fabric seats, and they have a really nice red stitching accent. The steering wheel is leather trimmed, as is the shift knob, so it's a nice feel in your hands. Power lift gate is standard. Blind spot with rear cross traffic is also standard. If you move up to the XSE, some standard features include a larger touchscreen, so the 9-inch touchscreen. Moonroof is standard. You get larger 19-inch two-tone machined alloys, which look fantastic. The SE actually has 18-inch alloys, which are also nice. You move from fabric to soft-tex trim seats with sporty red accents, so quite a bit more going on with the seat design. 2 wireless phone charging, the nice interior ambient lighting, which everyone likes. There's some different LED accents up front. So in that fog lamp area, you have 2 little vertical strips that are a nice LED accent that set the XSE apart from the SE. And then all XSEs come standard with the black roof. So you're getting a 2-tone paint, which we have on the XSE hybrid, RAV hybrid, as an option, but it's standard on the Prime. And as far as packages go for those grades, it's relatively simple in that for the SE, there is only one package. It's called the Weather and Moonroof package. For the XSE, there are actually 3 different packages: Weather, Weather Plus Audio, and then Weather Audio Premium. So it's one of those things where the package is built on previous packages. So let's go through that now so you know what's included in each of the packages and what the pricing is. So for the SE, that one package that's available is called Weather and Moonroof. It's $1,665. You get a roof, heated steering wheel, rain sensing wipers with the de-icer function, which is great, and heated rear seats in addition to the front seats, which are already heated as standard equipment. So a really nice package to, again, give you a roof and all of those kind of cold weather features that you'll be looking for, especially in our area. All right, so that's the one option for SE. For XSE, you can also get that weather package. Now it's almost the same as the SE package, but there's no roof added because roof comes standard on the XSE. So as a result, the price is half what it is for an SE. It's $815. Then the heated steering wheel, the rain sensing wipers with deicer, and the heated rear seats. And keep in mind on an XSE, you do have Softex interior, so those will be Softex heated front and rear seats. Option 2 is weather plus audio. So the things that we just discussed in the weather package plus JBL audio, built-in navigation, and a destination assist trial. So, basically you're adding JBL to the previous package, and it's $1,620. So that's option 2. And then the final option is the whole thing. It's called Premium Package. It includes the weather and the audio upgrades, but a host of new and exciting features. So you get a panoramic roof instead of the standard single roof. It's that great pano roof that we have for RAV4. The front seats are not only heated, but they're ventilated. So that's a great feature for the warmer months especially. You get memory driver seat and 4-way passenger power seat. Heads-up display. It's actually the first time we've offered heads-up display in RAV4. It's the same one that we have in other vehicles, the nice color one. Digital rear view mirror is part of this package. The hands-free foot-activated liftgate, 5-door smart key. So even the rear doors have the sensors for the smart key, so you don't have to grab the front door handle to unlock the rear doors. And then this is really cool. 120-volt, 1,500-watt AC power outlet. It's located in the rear cargo area, and 1,500 watts, that's a lot of power. That's much more power than we typically put on our AC power outlets in our vehicles. So that's actually enough to run, say your power goes out in your house, you could actually run some lights, maybe even your refrigerator, obviously TV, electronics. So it's a very cool feature of this XSE with this package that you should talk about with your customers. Also included is the adaptive front headlight system, where the headlights actually pivot in reaction to the steering, and an enhanced charger. So this is the enhanced charger that gives you that 2.5-hour charge time, which Jeremy will expand on a little bit more. So it's a little bit of a pricey package, $3,700, but if the customer wants the fully loaded RAV4 Prime, and believe me, once they see all the features, they will, you do get quite a bit for that $3,700. These are the wheels which I referenced earlier, so 18-inch alloys on the SE, which look nice, but the ones on the XSE, the 19s, those look fantastic. It's a new design, they look really sporty, and the black and the machined alloy combination is really, really eye-catching. As far as colors go, for the SE, you have a white, a silver, a gray, a black, a red, and a blue. Okay, so a nice palette for SE. And for XSE, it's essentially the same body colors, but no black. And the reason is you get a standard black roof with the XSE, and obviously with the black body, there'd be no two-tone contrast. So remember, on XSE, you get standard black roof with one of these 5 different body colors. All right, so let me hand this over to Jeremy. He's going to walk you through the rest of the presentation.
All right, thanks, Brian, and good morning, everyone. So, as always, I usually talk about the nuts and bolts, some of the more technical aspects of the vehicle. So we'll get down to some performance and some of the powertrain. So RAV4 Prime is actually our quickest vehicle in terms of acceleration, 0 to 60, except for the Supra. So it's got a 0 to 60 time of 5.7 seconds, so it's very quick. It is very quiet also when you're accelerating, so you don't even realize how quickly you're accelerating. It's a net rating of 302 horsepower, both with electric motor and the hybrid gas engine combination. But the 83 horsepower increase over the RAV4 hybrid, which I think most of us would agree is got pretty good performance for a small SUV. And of course, it comes standard with the all-wheel drive system. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a few minutes. But the battery in this vehicle is kind of what makes the plug-in Prime version of RAV different than the hybrid version of RAV. So it has a much larger battery, as you can imagine. It's got 96 cells. They're lithium ion, right, as most of our newer hybrids are as well. I think we made a production change in around April of this year that we switched over the RAV4 hybrids to lithium ion from the previous nickel metal hydride battery. But it's 18.1 kilowatt hours, so a fairly large battery compared to anything else that we've had in any of our vehicles. The cooling system. So cooling batteries is pretty important in a hybrid, or especially a plug-in hybrid or EV. So instead of just relying on fans and outside air to come through and provide cooling, our engineers have incorporated the use of the air conditioning refrigerant to cool the battery cells. So it doesn't matter the outside temperature. If you're in Phoenix, Arizona on a really hot day, you're going to have that battery cooling capability that's going to not only help the battery last longer, but also help the performance of that battery. And we've located that battery under the floorboard of the passenger compartment. You can see it there, the arrow's pointing kind of under the driver and rear passenger seat there. And we also have the battery under the rear seat as we do in the hybrid. So a couple of things that does, it preserves a lot of our cargo space in the back, so we didn't reduce the cargo capacity at all in the vehicle. But we've also got a low center of gravity, so that weight of the battery is very low in the chassis, so that's going to give us great handling and a very low center of gravity. Now, as for charge times on the battery, you'll probably get a lot of questions on this from your customers, and I just want to try to make it as clear as possible because there are a few differences based on the model and the option package that you get. So all of the RAV4 Primes will charge in 12 hours. So if it's completely dead, you can fully charge it. It takes 12 hours if you plug it into your 120 volt household electrical outlet. Now it will come with the charger to do that. So the customer doesn't have to buy anything. Everything's included, just like the Prius Prime. Another question you'll get frequently is how long is that cable? You know, how far can I stretch it out into my driveway? Well, it's about 20 feet long. And if it's not long enough, we don't recommend using an extension cord with that charging cable. So if they don't have access to where the vehicle is, to an outlet, they either need to move the vehicle closer to the outlet or have an outlet installed closer to the vehicle. So do not use an extension cord. If you're able to find a 240 volt charger, so this could be one of the public chargers that you would go to, and not a Tesla charger, but any other EV charging station that you may find. A lot of times they're in parking lots, parking garages, they might be in a grocery store parking lot, but you'll be able to find them. That's 4.5 hours. You can also have a 240 volt charging system installed in your garage, let's say. You can pretty much buy them anywhere. You can buy them on Amazon even, and have an electrician install it. It's just a 240 volt outlet they install, it plugs in, and then it will have its own charging cable so attached to that 240 volt charger, and it will charge in 4.5 hours. Right, so you can dramatically reduce the charge time if you use that level 2 or 240 volt charger. Now, here's where there may be some confusion. If you get an XSE and you opt for that premium package that Brian mentioned, it will come with the optional 6.6 kilowatt hour onboard charger. What that means is if you plug into the level 2 or 240 volt charger, either that you've installed in your house or a public charger, it will charge in as little as 2.5 hours. So very quick charge time, but again, that's only if you get that optional premium package on the XSE grade only. Right, but a very quick charge time takes it from 12 to 2.5. Now, charging options, as I mentioned, there are two different versions. There's a level 1, which is the 120 volt outlet. That's your standard household outlet that you may have in your garage or anywhere in your house. You can plug into that. Again, it's a 12-hour charge. Level 2, though, is either that public charging station that you may find or one that you've installed in your garage, let's say, for that quicker 4.5 hour charge, or 2.5 if you get the XSE, the premium package. But where can you find a charging station? You may think, well, there's probably not that many around. Actually, there are. If you start to look for them, you'll notice them. And we've given you a lot of options in terms of finding charging stations, not just through the Toyota app, but there's a lot of other apps you can look at, like Charge Hub, PlugShare, even Google and Apple Maps will show these charging stations. So there are a lot of public stations. I think there's over 60,000 in the US, and a lot of those are free to use, so you don't even have to pay for them. Right, so it's like basically getting free gas for your vehicle. Now, a lot of questions customers have, and we've addressed these a lot with the Prius Prime, but do I have to plug in the vehicle to charge the battery? Well, technically, no. You don't have to. You can drive it just like a hybrid vehicle. You don't ever have to plug it in if you didn't want to. I'm assuming people who want to purchase this RAV4 Prime are going to want to plug it in from time to time. And that's kind of the benefit to this vehicle. Is there any special equipment that I have to buy for charging? No, it comes with a charging cable that you can plug into the 120 volt outlet. However, if you want a quicker charge, a 4.5-hour charge, let's say, then yes, you could purchase a 240 volt level 2 charger and have that installed in your garage. How long will the battery last? Well, that's pretty much the typical question on any hybrid vehicle or anything with a battery. It's designed to really last the life of the vehicle, so it does have that long battery warranty that we have on all of our hybrids now, starting in 2020 model year. It's 10 years or 150,000 miles, so it's not something that most customers would ever have to worry about during the ownership of their vehicle. We do have some drive modes, and I've already gotten questions on these, and it is very similar to the Prius Prime, but you'll see some buttons on the center console like EV mode. So EV mode, as you would expect, it's all electric. So it just runs on electric mode, and this is kind of the default mode. As long as the battery has some charge in it, it will, when you start the vehicle, it will operate in electric or EV mode when you start to drive. Now there's also an auto EV HV button, and this button will allow you to, when you engage it, it will allow the computer to select which mode would be, I guess, most efficient or most convenient for the system to operate in. So it's going to default to EV driving, but it could start up the engine if, let's say, you accelerate onto the interstate and you really step down on the accelerator. It's going to go ahead and turn that engine on to give you a little extra performance and maybe some battery charging as well. And then when you're back to normal driving, it would switch back to EV. So it'll switch between the EV and HV mode as needed. You can toggle it into just HV mode or hybrid vehicle mode, and that will give you basically a RAV4 hybrid. It'll drive around with the gas engine starting up, shutting off, just like it was a hybrid vehicle. You might wonder, well, why would we want to choose these? Why not just let the car decide which is best? Well, maybe you know that you're going to get in your vehicle, start it up, you're going to get out on the highway and drive for 20 miles. And of course, the gas portion or the hybrid portion of the vehicle may be a little bit more efficient at highway speeds. And you can save that EV charge, so then when you get off the highway into more city driving, then you would have that full range of EV driving to use in the city where it's most efficient. And there's also a charge mode, and we typically don't broadcast this a lot. It is integrated in both Prius Prime and RAV4 Prime, only because it's on the auto EV HV button. Right below that logo, it will say in small letters, I think, charge hold. And customers are going to say, well, what does that mean? What's charge hold? Well, this is a mode where if you hold down that button, that auto EV HV button, for a couple of seconds, it will go into charge mode. Charge mode will then start up the gas engine and charge the battery pack using the gas engine as a generator. Why would you want to do that? Why not just plug it in? Well, it's not really a feature that's meant for the US market, right? Because we could plug the vehicle in and drive wherever, or not plug it in and still use hybrid mode. But in Europe, in some cities, there are areas of a city or times of the day and parts of the city where you can't drive a gas vehicle. It has to be an electric vehicle or an EV mode. And if you were out and you didn't have any battery charge, right, your battery was dead, so you're in hybrid mode, and you needed to go into that part of the city, well, I can't find a charging station or I don't have access to it at the moment, so then you could use the vehicle's engine to charge the battery so that then you would have that EV driving range to go into those portions of the city. So again, it is a feature that the vehicle has. I'm not sure how useful it is for our market, but it is integrated into both Prius Prime and RAV4 Prime. Now, the all-wheel drive E is standard on all Prius Prime, and the good thing about this system is it's exactly the same as the RAV4 hybrid, so there's nothing really to learn here. Battery supplies power to the rear electric motor to power the rear wheels when needed, and both the front and rear electric motor contribute regenerative braking, so when you hit the brake pedal, it's going to go ahead and provide regenerative charging to the battery pack, right? Charge the battery a little bit quicker. Now let's talk about some technology in the inside of the vehicle. So the SE grade, as Brian mentioned, it's got an 8-inch touchscreen. Of course, it comes standard with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Amazon Alexa, Sirius XM, All Access Pass, Safety Connect for 1 year, and Wi-Fi Connect. And of course, that is through AT&T, as all of our newer vehicles are now. The XSE gives you the Audio Plus, which is a little bit larger 9-inch touchscreen, and that will include all the features of the SE, but give you Remote Connect for 1 year, and also Service Connect for 10 years. If you opt for the XSE with audio or premium package, you will get not only the 9-inch touchscreen, but it'll add the 800-watt JBL sound system with subwoofer and amplifier. So that's a great sounding system. If you've heard it in the RAV4, same system. And it'll also give you the integrated navigation system or dynamic navigation with a 3-year trial period and destination assist for 1 year. For the first time on RAV4 anyway, as Brian mentioned, the XSE with the premium package will come with the full color 10-inch heads-up display. So that's going to give you a lot of important information like your speed. It'll give you like fuel economy, things like driver information, road sign assist, and also your other safety systems or warnings that will alert you, like pre-collision, for example. So cool feature. It can be adjusted up and down to suit the driver's height and also in their field of vision. And it can be turned off as well. So if it's distracting you during the day and you don't want it on, you can turn it off or back on, either way. Another cool feature of Prime is a 7-inch multi-information display. So you can see the instrument cluster there. We have a mix of analog gauges on the outside of the combination meter, and then the center portion is a 7-inch digital screen. So it's going to give you the option to change the view, obviously, but still have those analog gauges on the outside of that combination meter. And we have a new battery level meter. You can see it on the right side, just under the gas gauge. It goes from 0 to 100. That is your battery level meter. So it's basically like a gas gauge for your battery. So it tells you how much charge you have left in that battery at any given time. Another cool feature of the Prime. So along with the Toyota app, that's going to give you features for, let's say, if you have Remote Connect, it'll give you some remote climate features. Now this is also a feature you'll find on the key fob. You'll see a hold AC button. So that is something where you can activate to operate your remote climate system. It is the first Toyota that we offered this feature on that you can set the target temperature. Previously, if it was on a vehicle, it was, well, whatever you had the AC system set at when you shut off the vehicle, that's what it's going to turn on and try to cool the vehicle to. Now you can actually change that from the Toyota app. It has a run time of up to 20 minutes. So if you know you're going to go out in your vehicle within the next 20 minutes, you can set it to cool, for example, on a nice hot or nice summery hot day, and it will give you that nice cool cabin when you get back into the vehicle. It'll also allow you to turn on the front and rear defroster, which is a new feature. And that can all be controlled again from the Toyota app on your smartphone. Otherwise, if you use the key fob, you have to be a little bit closer to the vehicle, and it will just come on and turn on the system as to what it was set when you turn the vehicle off. So if it was set at 72 degrees when you got out of the vehicle, that's what it's going to try to achieve when you engage it. There's also a scheduler integrated in the Toyota app. So there's a lot more features in the Toyota app with this vehicle than others. And that scheduler will allow you to set times so that if your vehicle is plugged into a charging station or a charging cable, you can set it to charge at any given time. So it could be on a schedule where you preset it every day or every other day or just work days, that it's going to turn on and charge, as maybe it starts at 4 in the morning, you know, so that when you get ready to go to work, it's charged. And you can also engage that charging system at any time. So if you just wanted to turn it on remotely, you could, as long as it's plugged in. Why would you want to do that? Well, in some places, some energy companies will give you a lower cost of electricity in off-peak hours. So that would save you a little bit if you charge it during those off-peak hours. Charging station locator is also integrated into the app, so you can have not only a vehicle finder portion, but you can see the little charging station indicators on the map there. It looks like a gas pump with a lightning bolt on it, so you can find those, and you'd be surprised how many there are around that you probably have never noticed. And that charge management, it'll tell you what your state of charge of the battery is on the Toyota app, and then you can see how much time is remaining for the charge. So if you've got it plugged in, say, well, when's it going to be finished? It'll let you know through the app, so you can wait until it's completely charged before you go out and get in the vehicle. And again, you can remotely start that charging at any given time through the Toyota app. So it's very important. You can see all these great features with the RAV4 Prime you have on the Toyota app. So it's going to be very important for you to make sure that your customers get registered for the connected services, download the app to their phone. The preferred method to register customers now is using the Toyota app. So have the customer download the app, put in the VIN, create an account if they don't have one. It takes only a couple of minutes, and then they will have access to all these great features. We don't recommend anymore using the portal through Dealer Daily or through the Engage app or website, right? And one day that will probably not be available for you to use, so we want to get you in the habit of using the Toyota app only. But some great federal and state incentives on Prius Prime and RAV4 Prime. But RAV4 Prime qualifies for the most federal tax credit available, which is $7,500. And so I don't want you to tell customers they're going to get a $7,500 check from the government. It's not the way it works. If a customer at the end of the year, they purchase a RAV4 Prime, and it does not apply to leases, only a purchase. Once they do their taxes next year, they can tell their accountant, hey, I purchased this RAV4 Prime, it has a $7,500 tax credit. And then if they have a $7,500 federal tax liability, then that would be taken off of that, right? So I'm sure a lot of people will qualify for it, but it doesn't guarantee that everyone will. So I just want to make that clear. Don't tell them they're getting $7,500 back at the end of the year, because that is not really how it works. They may qualify for that and get that tax advantage, but not necessarily everyone will. But there are also some state incentives based on where the customer lives. For example, New York State will give you the biggest rebate, and that's another $1,700 on top of the federal $7,500. And if you live on Long Island and you drive on the LIE, you've probably seen a lot of cars, Prius and whatnot, going down with one person in it, and that's because it qualifies for the Clean Path, so you can drive in the HOV lane. Connecticut gives you $500, and New Jersey, well, they'll give you a 10% discount